So a horse, a dinosaur get together. Wait, stop if you've heard this one before. They get together and they make an SUV? What is going on, All-Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, it does not matter what you drive. This is your All-Terrain Nation. And today we are talking about, that's right, the Raptor Bronco Ford, the Ford Raptor Bronco, the Bronco Raptor Ford. I don't know how you actually call this thing anymore, but I have some opinions about this thing, which may not necessarily be the most popular opinions if you're interested in one of these vehicles. But first, if you would smash that like button, I greatly appreciate that. And if you've subscribed to the channel, if you would ring that bell, you'll know instantly when I drop a video. So let's get to it. The Ford Bronco Raptor, that's right. So the 2022, I think it's going to be more of a 23 is what they're actually going to call it. But we're supposed to see it this summer. And, you know, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of horsepower. It's going to be, you know, it's 400, probably 425 to 450 in this thing, which is this size of vehicle. That's a little monster, man. But I don't look at these things as like 0 to 60 times. At no point, you've heard me say this, at no point am I on trails with my off-road vehicles and go, let's line them up, man. Let's line these things up on these rock courses and let's go for it. But there is a place for this vehicle, probably just not for me. Now, while I view off-roading probably different than a lot of people view it, you know, I know a lot of people love the F-150 Raptor, which I'm one of those. But it's more of a street thing to me. I don't look at the Raptor here on the East Coast and it's like, man, I've really got a lot of places I can go off-road that thing for what it's intended, you know. Long travel, you know, the suspension's made for a lot of bouncing and like that. And while rock crawling and stuff here that I do in Tennessee, you know, requires, you know, some flex. It doesn't always require the dual shock setup and just the desert runner needs. And once again, if I lived on the West Coast, I would be at Glamis or I'd be in Moab just hitting the dunes with these things and just having a blast. But Ford wants to get into the Wrangler killer of the 392. That's right. I think the Raptor was an instant, hey, you know, oh, you brought the 392 out. Something that Jeep guys been asking for a decade. They've wanted this for a long time, and they've just gave up on Jeep ever doing it, and they started doing it in themselves, whether it be with a Chevrolet engine or the Hellcats that you can get in these things now, or even a Elephant if you need 1,000 horsepower. God, that's freaking ridiculous. Anyway, so people love horsepower though, so the idea of the Bronco being a high output engine, you know, having some big cojones about it does sound appealing, but I just don't know what you're going to exactly do with this. Now Ford has stated that, hey, it's going to be a low volume vehicle, so don't expect, you know, 5,000-6,000 of these things the first year. I think they're going to want to sell more because I think there's a price to go along with that, which we're about to get into. But I want to get into these pictures that Bronco Nation had dropped, you know. They seem to get a lot of the early Ford pictures, so we'll go for it there. But let's get into these pictures, and I want to talk about some of the good and some of the bad. All right, so let's get into this thing. There's a few highs and a lot of lows, in my opinion, that we're going to get into. And by no means am I the book of Bronco. There's a lot of different options and models of Broncos, so everybody gets something they might want in this. And, you know, if you listen to the beginning of this, I may not be the biggest fan of this vehicle already, but let's get into this. So let's look at that hardcore bumper, which seems to be a little darker than normal. I don't know if it's a different powder coating or what they're doing. Something a little more special for the Bronco. It does look a little different. But in the corners of those Broncos, either Ford was watching what aftermarket was doing, but I suspect they'd been planning this for this bumper the whole time. And there's some, looks like some factory fog lights, LEDs of some sort in there, which I guarantee a bunch of people are going to want to put these in those gaps because, well, a lot of people like the factory look. Now, under those, you will see, look at these big wind deflectors under theirs. And I've not seen many people discussing this, but guess what? 37-inch tires under this thing. That's right, 37-inch tires. So you're sticking way up in the air. You got to get that air away from the vehicle of some sort, and especially from the big tires. So what do? Put some deflectors on there. Now, while in my opinion, they look horrible. And then remember, this is my opinions. I know the purpose of them, and they're probably needed. It just looks like an afterthought to me, which a lot of this vehicle does. It looks like they just quickly threw something together, in my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think, though. The grille for this thing, big Ford across the front there. Well, I understand the design cue of this because it goes across the Raptor in general. If you look at what the Australian version of the Ranger Raptor got, big Ford grille like that. Obviously, the F-150 Raptors have always had big Ford stamping up front. So I get this, but I don't know. It just loses something. Like the cool thing about Bronco was it really wasn't badged much Ford. You just get the one little emblem in the back, and everything else was the pony, right? Well, Ford wants you to know that this is a Raptor, so they're giving us a special grille. And those halos in the thing, all orange. Well, you know, I get it. Once again, it's a Raptor thing. I just don't think either it doesn't look good with this kind of the hot pepper cherry metallic color they're using there, or something just doesn't sit right with me about it, and it just kind of looks off. Of course, you're getting the traditional Raptor style 3 lights in the middle because, well, it's extra wide. It's a wide boy, man, and wide boys have to go through lots of federal regulations to be wide boys, and that's part of it. Now, look at the fenders on this thing, and Jeep Calden would like their fenders back of sorts, and I'm kind of poking at that, but I'm kind of not. I think one of the misses that Bronco did was the round fenders, and I think that's why you see at SEMA this past year, you've seen all the kind of squared off fenders. That's what kind of people wanted with this thing. And, well, here we got them. Except they stick way, way out on this thing, and it goes all the way to the back of this. And they're just wide boys. Now, will they be easily removable like the current Bronco is? I have a feeling yes. I think they will be, but got to keep, if you're lifting this thing up, once again, you got to keep all the air from going under the vehicle or kind of using those the wheel wells as, you know, big parachutes basically. So I get it why they're doing this, and you couldn't put the round ones in general would just be awkward being this far out. So I kind of wish Ford would have done something a little more unique with the fenders on this, and maybe they didn't have to do the detachable fenders. Because I think these have obviously been changed a little bit. If you look at the fenders, they're even more squared off the way they attach, the plastic attaches. But I don't know, just something about this is just not great for me. Now let's look at the side of this thing because, well, we're going to learn a lot more about this thing. So as you can see in the back of this thing, look at that big 37-inch tire. Now it's kind of a skinny fella, but it's probably what they're putting under the Raptor now. I guarantee it's about probably the same exact size because the wheels look damn near identical. So why wouldn't they just use the same tire? Once again, you can see the squared off fenders on this thing, but look on the front fender. Look how it's squared off to be more traditional Bronco-like. But look at that big mud flap that comes down the side because, well, I think Ford realized real quick that their round plastic fenders aren't going to keep all the mud off the side of these vehicles. And when I did the East Coast celebration, there was mud just plastered to the side of these doors, and it's going to scratch up these vehicles real quick. So I think this is to offset that. Now look at the steps of this thing. They are more of the traditional kind of flat, wide step. Now, a lot of people seem to, that be one of the complaints, that whether it be the Badlands or whatever, when they order these, they kind of thought, well, I need a wide step for people to get into. Well, the Badlands is a rock crawler. This thing here is more like the Wild Track, a desert runner, so it needs a little bit wider step, and I think that's also to keep mud and grime off of the side of the vehicle. Once again, you can see the wheels on this thing. They're definitely taken from, looks like from the current Raptor, or what were the Gen 3 Raptor. And if you look at the rear wheel well of this thing, look how those fenders go all the way into the door. Now, they kind of look like those square fenders that, the fiberglass fenders that were at SEMA a little bit. And they go into this big, and I mean big mud flap towards the back, towards the bumper there. Just ridiculously big. Now, something I think they should have, like for Raptor, should not have shown this thing in the MIC top at all. The Raptor needs to get a body colored top, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't want to see a soft top in this thing. You may want the soft top, but I think for what this vehicle is going to cost, it's a premium. You're paying a premium for this thing, so everything should be premium. And I just feel like this the MIC top is just kind of an afterthought. And there's no allure to that to me, especially with this color. I don't think it looks great with this color, but that's, once again, my personal opinion. Now, in the mirrors, it looks like you're getting a gloss mirror cap to go with this, and that's pretty much from what we can see of the side. Now, let's go to the rear of this thing because, well, we're getting new taillights. That's right. We are getting, these are SEMA-inspired taillights, and I'm going to leave it at that because
I do not like these things at all. And once again, I'm going to keep saying this. Might not be for me. You may love this, and these are just my opinions. But those taillights honestly look like something kind of that you would see, you know, at eBay, if to kind of be plain about it. And they just, I don't know. I like the LEDs that they're putting in the Badlands more than this, or even the normal lights that they put in the Black Diamond on down. I like those way better than this. And if you look at that driver's side, even one of the LEDs looks like it's out already. I don't know how Ford didn't touch that up in post, but they didn't. And because this is a wide boy, you're going to get the wide boy lights in the above the tire there, so you can see the three lights for that. Because hey, federal regulations and all. But it is cool to see this thing kicking up the mud and dirt. Now, once again, you can see the steps a little better right here, and you can also see the up on front there. You can see the mud flaps a little bit better. It just, for me, it just looks like looks like a very rushed vehicle. Now, above that fender, I don't know that this is what it is, or maybe it's not, it looks like there's 4 blades in there in the fender, like maybe for a little bit of extra cooling, or to let air out from under the fenders to divert it outside the vehicle. I don't know exactly, but definitely this thing is a big boy. And look how, in this picture, look how that MIC top just looks tiny compared to how those wide fenders, and it's kind of nuts to me. Now, let's look at the front again here, and chewing up the mud. Look at where that mud is on the side of those back fenders. Definitely, I'm telling you, I think down the road they changed the normal Bronco fenders a little bit. But let's look at there's some suspension issues, or not issues, some suspension things I want to look at. Look at these lowers. These look damn near straight out of the current F-150 Raptor. And now, while the framing of these things is not F-150, I got a feeling that it's the next Ranger framing. I have a feeling there's a lot of commonality to these things. I know with Nissan, that's the same frame. What they call the F platform is the same as the Titan, as it is the Frontier. So that means a lot of the suspension can just bolt right into the littler trucks. And those lowers are freaking massive. And I can't wait to see some of the specs about that. But you can see the LED fog lights there a little bit better. Looks like there might be a name brand on those fog lights. I can't really tell. And you can see right here the little fin that's diverting air away from those big tires a little bit better. And obviously we see a camera in the grill too, which is kind of cool. Overall, I think there's a place for this thing, but I don't know that we're just ready for this thing just yet. In the comments, let me know, the idea of this thing being a big desert runner, does that excite you? And I've been told by a few sources that this thing is getting the 3-liter that they put in the Ford Explorer ST or STI, whatever they call the thing, I can't remember, which potential 450 horsepower in this thing. Is that exciting? Now, manual transmission guy, don't expect a manual transmission. You're going to get the 10-speed in this thing. It's going to be tuned just like it is for the normal Raptor. It's going to be tuned just for the high horsepower, and maybe gearing. Maybe we're going to get that 513 gearing that Ford's selling in the Ford Performance, because I have a feeling 37s, the current Sasquatch package gearing's probably just not enough for this thing yet. But there you go, guys. There is the Ford Bronco Raptor.
So there you go. Does your opinion align with my opinion? Probably not on this one. Once again, I'm just not the biggest fan of this thing. 37s freaking sound appealing, even though they're like skinnies. But for the way I off-road, this vehicle is probably just not for me. Though, not every vehicle is intended for my sole reasonings, right? Like, you might be on the West Coast or somewhere where there's a lot of sand and be like, dude, that is right up my alley. You're crazy. But let me know in the comments below. Just drop it down there. Type it whatever, if you use the 2 fingers, type it like that. Or if, you do like that. But let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the Raptor? Are you excited about it? Or, well, we've seen the Bronco prices as is for the normal Broncos. Up 30,000 upgrade, upcharge on these things. What is this one going to get? And where do you think it's going to start price-wise? Comments below, let me know. So, whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, you know the drill. It does not matter what you drive. It's been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, Dave Boyd, and we are out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.